I came from Bangladesh to study in Alabama, USA with a scholarship. Here, I work part-time in a coffee shop for a livelihood. Some of my friends also work here. We are all bachelors and living together. This coffee shop has a TV. That's why many people from the surrounding area come here to watch games. And almost everyone drinks a lot of coffee to watch games. They come in droves to this coffee shop. Among them are the elderly and the young. We also finished our work, watched TV, and chatted with them. As a result, within a few days, everyone in the area got to know us. One of these guys became a friend of mine. The boy's name is Chris. He is my age. We used to gossip about different things almost every day. Most of them were ghost stories, because we were all very enthusiastic about talking about ghostly things. I noticed that Chris is so interested in that. He often goes out with his friends to explore haunted places. One day I asked Chris if there were any haunted places in the area. Because he is a native of this area, he should know about this. Hearing that, Chris said,
No, there is no such place here. However, the dorm where I live in the university where I study is very haunted.
I said, "What do you say? Explain it." Chris began.
Yeah, that dorm is so haunted that people are afraid to walk out there after dark. There is a haunted spirit that is about 100 years old. Many have seen her. But the worst thing is that whoever sees the spirit is either possessed by it or becomes seriously sick.
I asked, "What kind of sickness?" Chris replied,
High fever and other symptoms. Everyone says there's a girl who committed suicide by setting herself on fire in the early 1900s. That's the girl's spirit that walks around now.
I said I'd like to go there. Chris said,
Not now. I'm home for summer vacation. I'll be back after a week. Then I will be busy studying for the semester finals. I will contact you in my free time.
In fact, although Chris's home is in Alabama, the university he was studying in was in a faraway city. I thought, okay, as he said. Then, due to my busy daily schedule, I forgot about this discussion. I remember when Chris suddenly called me one day and asked if I could go to his university. Chris told me that if I visited their campus this time around, I would have a lot of fun, because it has been raining a lot for several days. Moreover, now their vacation has started, so the campus is almost empty. There are a few people. All in all, the environment there is very spooky now and favorable for haunted experiences. If I go there, he will show me the whole place in 2-3 days and then come with me to his house. I took leave with great difficulty and left there by bus. After reaching there, Chris took me to see his dormitory. It was huge and obviously very old. By the time I reached there, it had rained heavily. The roads were all wet with rain. It was afternoon then, and the sky was cloudy. It was like a wet fog around. Seeing the ancient structure in this environment, I got goosebumps. Chris's dormitory consists of 3 wings, and one is far from the other. I asked Chris, which place is haunted? He replied,
The whole place. No one knows where, when, what will be seen. Any kind of ghostly experience can be experienced by anyone, anywhere, at any time.
He also said,
I have a friend, Jennifer. That spirit is more visible in the wing where Jennifer lives, because the girl set herself on fire in that building. Many people have seen a girl walking there with her whole body on fire. People also see many other terrible things. Jennifer is here too. Let me introduce you to her. Before that, let's go to the room.
Chris took me to his room. He and one boy share it. But his roommate had left the dorm for the vacation. I liked the room. After freshening up, Chris started showing me around the entire dorm. I already like old buildings very much. It was open and lots of plants surrounding it, so I liked the environment. Meanwhile, a girl came. Chris introduced her to me. That was Jennifer. Then we toured the entire campus with Jennifer. Finally, Jennifer led us to a room. Pointing to that room, she said, "This is the room where the terrible incident took place. The girl's suicide." I don't know why, after entering that room, my whole body felt heavy, and I felt like someone was staring at me. The sun had set, so we didn't stay there long. The three of us went out and had dinner, and after returning, prepared to sleep in our respective rooms. I could not sleep because of the new place, so I chatted with Chris for a while. Chris fell asleep once. Even then, I couldn't sleep. I thought maybe a little walk would make me sleepy, so I opened the door of the room and came out into the corridor. It was raining heavily. I saw no one to be seen anywhere. The corridor was completely empty, quiet and peaceful all around. Only the sound of rain and leaves was rustling in the wind. The whole place seemed very spooky. Chris and I were in the wing that was in the corner, and Jennifer's wing was in the middle. And there was that room. As I was walking down the corridor, I didn't know why I suddenly felt like someone was calling me from that room and telling me to go to that room, and have to go there alone. I couldn't hear it, but all things were happening in my mind. Then I started walking towards that room. I didn't know the path to that room. Still don't know how I reached that room that day. I was in a daze then. I walked through dark lawns and corridors. It felt like I was in my senses, but I had no control over myself. At one point, I felt that someone was following me. My whole body shivered with fear. At one point, the feeling became so intense that I suddenly looked back. Looking back, I thought I saw a black, human figure-like shadow that was behind me for so long. As I looked, it suddenly disappeared into the dark. But the strange thing was that even after seeing that, I kept walking towards that room without turning back. Walking up the stairs, I reached the corridor of that room. The corridor was dark because there were no other rooms except this one. And this room has been empty for years. Nobody wants to live here. I slowly went to the door of the room. A little light from a distant lamp was slightly lighting the door. In that light, I suddenly saw something slowly emerging on the door. I noticed that it was a girl's face. I froze in fear. That girl's face was smiling at me. After a few seconds passed, suddenly two hands came out from the wall on both sides of the door and held me tightly with the door. I cried out in fear. Immediately, I heard the sound of someone running. I saw that was Chris. Chris asked me,
"How did you get here? You don't know the way of this room."
He then called Jennifer, and when Jennifer arrived, the two of them brought me to Chris's room. Jennifer said she dreamed a ghostly figure called me and held me. I told them what happened to me, which matched Jennifer's dream exactly. The next day, I got a high fever. It was 105 degrees centigrade, and I was admitted to the hospital's emergency department. I suffered from this fever for a long time. However, the doctor's tests did not find any reason behind this fever. So the doctors became worried about my fever. After recovering and returning to Alabama, I would often hear a knock on my room door late at night. I was afraid to go to the closet at night. It seemed that someone was sitting there. One day I was driving home. That day I felt that someone was sitting in my car, watching me. After this incident, I met a local saint who taught me some rituals that I had to follow every day, and told me to pray daily. After doing as he said, I had no more problems.